So, okay, we start already. So, Miss, I'm Ang Eun Yi from a journalism student from Simon University, Malaysia, and currently our group is doing a topic within the tariff electric asas akan naik. So, for your consent, our conversations will be recorded for the transcript and also serve as an evidence. And Miss Nat, boleh review your real name in my report or you want to stay anonymous? Anonymous So okay. So bagi background tarif elektrik asas akan naik 14.2% tambah daripada 39.95 sen per kilowatt kepada 45.62 sen per kilowatt mulai Julai this year. So daripada itu government dia orang cakap disebabkan kos bahan api dan akan meningkat, so dia orang juga meningkat itu tarif elektrik. And then kerajaan memaklumkan AP4 ini akan disasarkan kepada industri dan golongan berpendapatan tinggi. So bagilah jamin 85% of isi rumah terutama pengguna rendah tidak akan terjejas. So first questions, berapa jumlah pekerja yang anda miliki sekarang?
Saya belum ada lagi pekerja.
Oh, okay. So
saya dengan suami saya.
Suami isteri saja. Okay. So sudah berapa lama anda menjalankan perniagaan ini?
2 tahun.
2 tahun. Okay. And then bagaimanakah syarikat anda mengakhirkan perbelanjaan operasi pada masa ini?
Perbelanjaan akhir operasi macam kita orang akan ada supplier akan untuk kita punya operasi, and then perbelanjaan kita orang bahagi kepada rumah-rumah lah, definitely lah, kerja-kerja lah, itu bahagikan. And then masa pula kita orang buka pukul 12 sampai pukul 10 malam, and ada setengah juga kami tidak menjalankan dekat office, dekat kedai sebab ada event-event lain.
So Miss, like how do you like separate the sections of your money, like a part of money for electricity and a part of money for your like raw materials?
Okay, because we have for example, we do have a lump sum like 10,000. 10,000 is solid for business itself.
Okay.
So daripada 10,000 tu, you kena main around 10,000 tu melalui elektrik, berkenaan dengan bil-bil yang lain-lain, internet, sewa kedai, premis dan semuanya.
Okay. So it's like separate like very fairly to each other.
Yeah.
Okay. And then saya nak tanya, adakah kos elektrik merupakan sebahagiannya the most significant cost in your operations?
Significant, sangat-sangat tinggi elektrik. Sangat-sangat tinggi. Benda lain kita boleh lah, macam internet as usual lah, dia punya akan fix amount which is 150 per month, so 100.5 lah dia continuous. So sewa macam biasa 2,000 continuous. Macam elektrik fluctuated, memang tinggi sangat-sangat. Ini memang ketara, boleh saya katakan. Yang bila dia jump into bulan Julai ni, memang ketara. So minimizekan, nak kata minimize tak juga, sebab we need is a daily use. Is a daily usage. Macam sekarang ni internet, macam sekarang ni macam aircon. You hendak atau tak, you kena juga. This is your routine, dah biasa dah dalam you punya kedai, memang operasi memang guna aircon. Dan itu boleh katakan memang kesan yang teramat-amat terhadap kita orang, walaupun minority of SME punya runcit kerja macam kita.
Okay, thank you Miss. And then adakah anda menjerja itu penggunaan tenaga anda secara berkala?
Maksudnya?
Can I use? So do you usually track your energy consumption regularly?
Yeah, we did. Kita guna consumptions regularly. So every day lah. What is we are using every single day.
So you will go and notice and check whether it's got some raising unusually.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yang drastically yang naik ialah electric, definitely. Especially kalau you guna macam kalau rumah isi rumah yang biasalah. Tapi dekat sini banyakkan peti sejuk, which is memang peti sejuk lah kita orang guna untuk store things, everything memang guna dan memang terkesan sangat-sangat.
I understand. So go to the next question. Start. When you heard about the government announcement, how do you react to this? Do you think that this very unfair for our SME?
Yeah, it's so unfair for us. Actually, memang tak adil. Dia kata tak terkesan kepada rendah orang, B40. Tapi bagi saya semua orang berkesan. Bukan kata B40 yang T20, T15 ataupun umum akan terkesan. Ini bukan saja elektrik, dia akan berkesan kepada sumber-sumber lain, raw material, everything. Dari situ kita as a SME yang kecil ni terkesan sebab kita ada jual barang, the margin is very minimal. So kita nak jual mahal tak boleh juga, nak kena murah tak boleh. So fair, so that means minimal punya. Itu yang kalau you tengok secara structure, kebanyakannya sekarang ni macam you as a student, you use selalu dulu you boleh belanja makanan here and there, tapi sekarang ni you kena berhati-hati sebab semua barang raw dan juga yang sudah sediaan will be increased. Betul tak?
Yeah. So Miss thinks that for summarization, Miss think that this will probably affect our pricing in our daily life.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Miss. And so baru-baru ni had you received the government announcement already, or you just listen to the news broadcast or whatever?
Daripada dia ada dua, ada daripada government dan juga broadcast dan juga multimedia social.
So they have already sent a message to you guys that saying that will be increased.
Yes, but then itu is for us it's not fair. Dia tak ada bagi kata putus. Survey, dia tak ada macam you as a student you survey, okay, is it fair or not, kan? Dan sepatutnya kerajaan bagi tempoh ataupun dia pun bagi survey yang mana setuju dan tak. Dia tengok pool yang mana yang fair.
So it's like they also didn't give a very clear explanations to you guys.
Dia macam force. Maksud saya dia paksa. Sedangkan kalau you tahu TNB yang memang major yang dalam kita punya seluruh Malaysia, dia yang control, which is dia boleh minimalkan dan juga it's not fair for us suffer, which is kalau macam if you can see in usual the normal one, orang makin lama dia naik gaji tetapi come to square, you naik gaji tapi benda pun naik, so come to square. It's not fair for us and SME and also rakyat biasa.
Okay, I know, I understand. Thank you, Miss. And what are your top priority for your business after the adjustment is carried on? So like what was the most important thing that you put at first?
We put at first is our product. We put our first is product. So to survive for us SME and we have to survive, we have to have a product. Barulah boleh melangsungkan kehidupan kita. Kalau tak ada produk, we don't have anything and then we jungle here, jungle there and kita pun tak tahu until when. So we have to have a product.
So Miss, I understand your meaning and I get your I get your point, and I very appreciate on your product quality because you say you will remain the product quality.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And then with the upcoming electricity tariff hike, so how do you plan to restructure your costs? Like which one will you will give more to the electricity and less to something else?
Nak bagikan, I don't think so. I think most is electric. Might be because usually kita akan beroperasi Isnin hingga Sabtu. Ahad akan tutup. Sekarang ni mungkin ke barang kalian kita akan beroperasi Isnin hingga Jumaat. Kemungkinan besar Sabtu dan Ahad kita akan tutup, mengurangkan tarif elektrik.
Oh, okay, I understand. So you just like shorten
Shorten
your
the
operation
period
hour.
Operation hour. Selalunya kita beroperasi sebelum ni kita beroperasi daripada pukul 3 hingga pukul 12. 11 hingga 12 tengah malam. So sekarang ni flexible, which is kalau ada tak ada event, kita akan mula awal. Dan macam hari ni kita lambat sikit ada event, so kita mula lambat dan habis awal. Kita akan tutup dalam pukul 10.
Oh, okay, I understand. So another question is that, so like just now I'm mentioning that, so like you think that the electricity have most significant place in your operations doing, then would you like after this adjustment carry on now, would you like separate some things into cover the electricity bill, just like you separate less cost in the water bill or whatever to
The water,
cover?
like macam I kata earlier, the water bill is
Fixed.
state fixed.
Oh, okay.
Fixed
I know.
water bill, internet, sewa premis, they memang stick. So what we can do, that's why macam tadi saya cakap, we open daripada Isnin, usually Isnin sampai Sabtu. Now to be reduce our electric, we will shorten the time Monday to Friday, and Saturday and Sunday our outsource to another places is mostly event.
So this is the only way that we can done right now. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Miss.
We did a few. They are boleh reduce.
Okay, thank you, Miss. So do you think that for the government has stated that the increase in electricity tariff is mainly due to the predicted rise in coal and also natural gas. So will you consider refining the pricing of your product or your customer services?
The price will be stick. The price, and the product will be price will be the stick. And then over the size, we have to reduce. We have to reduce. Not that we doesn't want. It's high because usually if you take our product, it's a very huge. Used to be a huge one because dia murah. Bila mahal, semua mahal. Even pergi pun supplier pun bagi mahal, dan juga dia supply pun benda yang ayam yang kecil. Kita tak boleh nak against. Kalau against pun dengan supplier, dia pun kata dia pun short. I mean dia our supplier, dia kata dia no choice, have to take the small size to maintain and to maintain the product.
So it's about like you remain the product quality, but you are forced to like reduce the size. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Miss. And then, do you think that this will affect the customer demand? Will the customer say, I
Yes.
do not satisfied with your product?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But then and some of the student, especially student, because my customer is student, tapi dia faham, they do understand, because they are like you as a student also, you are knowledge already. You know what is right and what is wrong, and cannot deny. You cannot also debate us. You always saying that, oh yeah, I know why is it the price is there and the quality is superb, but unfortunately we have to reduce, and they do understand also why you have to do that. Bukan kita tak nak harga yang sama, we bayar pun harga yang lebih mahal, tapi we dapat dapat barang yang kecil.
Oh, okay, I understand. I get your point. Thank you. And then, have you taken some steps to reduce the electricity consumption? As you mentioned just now, it just shortened the
Yeah, it is,
operation hour,
yes,
right?
yes.
So, don't have another way to
Yeah,
separate
like
it.
macam freezer yang because we do have gelato just now adik.
Okay.
Gelato operation we can shut down.
Oh,
So we shut down and then gelato we put inside the freezer, the huge freezer
Oh,
kan.
okay.
So from there they boleh shortenkan the consumptions of our electric lah.
so which means that it's like sharing the energy consumption. So a part of them will be reduced lah, will be
Yes.
cut off. Okay, thank you. I understand. Thank you, Miss. And what is the most challenging problem to cut off the electricity costs?
Challenging is aircon.
Aircon.
Aircon. But no choice. But you have to because macam sini environment sini mesti definitely lah. You nak selesa apa? You nak selesa bukan kata student, as a owner also I pun nak selesa apa semua. So aircon you hendak atau tak is a must, is a routine.
So Miss, you're literally a very good business owner because you want to give very comfortable environment
Yeah.
for students. Really good. Thank you, Miss. And then the government, they have mentioned about that they wanted to increase the electricity bill. But one cause is because they want to invest the solar energy. Yeah. And then do you think that your business has a significant role in improving this type of solar energy things?
Solar kat sini tak boleh letak untuk rental. Tak boleh letak the high risk also, ini high risk tak boleh, hanya landed. Landed is rumah. So rumah is just in other way is rumah lah he can do, but then we are concerned about government concern, they will tell about electric for SME yang mana bukan kata pekerja, itu isi rumah. Isi rumah memang dia akan boleh buat solar. Ini orang talk about business. Orang business no choice, dia tak boleh buat solar sebab ini sewa dan juga apartment, kondo solar tak ada. So nak tanya how, I mean as a student also we also ask the government macam mana solution yang untuk mengimplementasikan solar itu kepada high rise, sewaan, premise dan juga kondo semua.
Actually, if can lah, then will Miss like support these decisions on
Yes,
invest the
I
solar
did,
energy?
but it depends also. Solar is not like 100-200, no. It costs about 40,000. Mahal.
Yeah.
40,000 ke 50,000.
So Miss have considered before lah, because I listened to your point and then I think that you have already done some research on it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
40 to 50,000.
So it's about you wanted to
To
support,
but then is
have some
it's so expensive. Bukan semua orang boleh ada 40 hingga 50 walaupun you bayar monthly. They say okay, no problem, you monthly. But then if you pay monthly, kalau you ada monthly, you tak ada, you mesti ada commit. Kalau let's say you tak berapa banyak income cash, so macam mana you nak gunakan solar?
Okay, so it's about you wanted to support but have some limitations on it. Okay, I understand.
Unless because government say they're going to support 40,000. Yeah, tapi half of it, let's say like I say, actually the actual one is 100k. The actual solar, the government support is half of it, and then you have to pay the half of it. So from where you can get half of it?
It's quite difficult.
As let's say you tell your mommy also, your mommy wants also, but then you have to pay monthly. It's a commitment for you. From zero, you have to commitment something.
Okay, I understand. I get a point. Thank you, Miss. And because the government has also said that they will maintain the electricity tariff from the January to June. and then they will offer some subsidies for users that below 1,500 kilowatt per month. So have Miss received these subsidies?
No, tak ada, tak ada.
But if they have freeze the
Tak ada. Dia ada charge. Kalau you tengok dengan elektrik, dia ada charge under SEDAR. Under SEDAR SEDA, which is electric survey something electric punya.
So they didn't freeze like it's generally like your electricity bill is 50 ringgit ma. Then they still have got charge improved in.
Yes, dia ada RM50.
Yeah.
They say, the government say, okay, they freeze 50, okay. In between, kat situ you akan boleh tengok dekat bil elektrik dia ada charge 2% daripada RM50 tu.
So
Kepada SEDAR, which is hold on, I check SEDAR
it's okay,
apa nama SEDAR, I dah lupa.
this?
Okay, this one. Sustained Energy Development Authority. 1 or 2% they'll give this to the electric from SME to this.
So they will charge lah.
They charge.
Oh, okay.
Let's say you are contoh RM50, they charge 1 or 2%, and then you hantar kepada SEDAR.
Oh, okay. I get very new insight from this. Thank you, Miss.
New for you.
Huh? Yeah. Thank you, Miss. So just like the announcement, also aim to allocate some of this electricity bill to help the education part and also the medical part. So if Miss could see they have do some things to support the healthcare, will you like support the decisions of the government that you can contribute to societal improvement?
Okay, kalau macam education and healthcare, I did support that one for students and also this one. But then what I'm concerned is currently the health in Malaysia is very strict. Tak cukup. And kebanyakannya pergi overseas. Why? Kebanyakannya government punya hospital dia bagi contract dan bukan permanent. Dan dari situ since last year until this year they already fight and none of the government sokong dia, and then itu yang menyebabkan health kita we are shrink. Dan lagi satu, I still support and I hope the government support the health, which is medical, the student especially medical, don't send to overseas. They can go in local but then reduce. Let's say in overseas is 100k example contoh. Tapi dekat Malaysia they cover everything, instead of 100k they reduce 20k which is 80k. That one I'm do encourage the government help the student in Malaysia. They always come to here. At the end of the day when they graduate they work in here, not overseas.
So Miss thinks that if the electricity bill increase, then they use the increased bill to help these students and also medical support. You will support their
yes, dan juga must be transparent. I need the transparent.
It's very important.
Transparent is very important. No hangy-pangy everything, no such thing. Yeah.
So they don't just speak on it. They must
must do, make an action. What is it? What is the budget from year to year, 1 to year? We need to know as a student in future. You also need to know transparent from the government itself.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, Miss. And nowadays, so what kind of support are you looking for from the relevant agencies or from the government?
Relevant. So far, we cannot get as SME. It's not fair for me also. We did try, but then dia tak impose sangat. Dia tak bagi implement. I mean dia tak bagi grant yang the margin, our annual report will be less. I mean example 100k, we don't have that achievement, dia tak bagi. So for us it's not fair. To be fair, all doesn't matter SME small, kecil, goreng pisang or what, government should support.
So you guys have to reach a goal, then the government still will give it.
Yes, we do.
But would you want to suggest to the government that you need some support from it?
Yeah, we did, but we didn't get.
Oh, can I ask what kind of action that you guys did?
So that means all this our cafe from scratch until now our own money, without any from government.
So you guys got go to stand and report to the government, but the government didn't respond at all.
Yes, no.
Okay, so I understand. Wow. Do you have any suggestions for improving the recent tariff adjustment? Like how to benefit both sides?
Win-win situation
Yeah,
is
win-win situation.
win-win situation is you reduce color increase, doesn't matter color increase semua. The raw from the very beginning, raw must be the same price. Must be the same price, not because of semua naik, you nak naik semua termasuk tarif. It's not fair for us also.
So sorry miss, so you mean is like from the first one you have to
I mean from the raw, from the fresh, let's say fish lah. Fish daripada shipping, from fishermen until towards the end, the price will be okay, and the tariff will be okay. But now, not only tariff increase from the raw, from the fishermen, from the boat, everything until the end. So impose everyone effect.
you just want to mention like everyone have to be fair to increase this electricity bill
Yes,
rather than just mentioning you guys
Yes.
and also the Super Rich
exactly,
Group.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. So thank you, Miss. And Miss, if got further verifications or further questions, can I go to interview you again? Sure. Okay. And because Miss, just now you have mentioned that you want to stay anonymous in our report, right? So can Miss suggest me a given name for you?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You give me any name will be okay lah.
Okay.
Animals, something lah, flower or what.
Okay. Thank you, Miss. And that's all for our interview. Thank you
Okay,
for giving me
okay.
very new perspective on it. Thank you, Miss.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Okay, now we need to record our interview.
Okay. Okay, what is your questions?
Okay, now let's start the interview.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, have you heard about the announcement of the electricity tariff increase?
What?
Have you heard about the announcement of the electricity tariff increase?
Where? In which country?
In Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Okay. Recently or how? About, I think, I think there has been an official announcement regarding the electricity tariff increase in Malaysia. I think start July 1, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think I heard.
Yeah. The government emphasizes that this policy will not affect 85% of household users. Do you think this can ease social anxiety?
What? What is that?
The government emphasized that the policy will not affect 85% of household users and will only affect the industry and the wealthy people. Do you think this can ease social anxiety?
Social?
Social anxiety.
I didn't get you. What social what? Can you type what is social security? You mean?
SOCIAL.
Yeah, I
Social.
know. Social, and then another word.
ANXIETY.
Anxiety.
AN. Oh, anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. So the government is using the target subsidy to ensure that only high usage consumer will bear the burden of the electricity tariff increase. So why this happened? Because they want to promote equity and fiscal responsibility. And then they want to protect the B40 and M40 groups from cost of living pressure.
Yes.
And then they also want to support energy efficiency without worsening poverty. So this approach is an example of progressive pricing policy, not social anxiety. Okay, so when it could relate to the social anxiety is that if the public perception is negative, okay, for example, like fear of hidden costs or distrust in policy transparency. So it might create or reflect social anxiety in this way. For example, like fear among M40 that they may be the next to lose the subsidy. Maybe distrust in government communication for the future intentions. And then worry among SMEs and renters about trickle down costs. So is the policy announcement itself social anxiety? No.
Yes.
So if you ask me, can it lead or reflect social anxiety in society? Yes, if policy communicated or misunderstood.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
in your opinion, will you support this electricity fee reform policy?
Mm, this electricity, wait, hello?
Hello.
Yeah. What your question is just now?
Will you support this electricity fee reform policy? And
Okay. So, uh, there are few reason to support, but there is a challenge that you need to consider as well.
yes.
So if the reason for me to support the reform, it's reduce a fiscal pressure. So in 2022, Malaysia spent over 50 billion on subsidies, much of which went to energy. So removing blanket subsidy helped reduce the budget deficit and free up funds for something else. For example, like healthcare, educations, and maybe B40 welfare. And number two is promote the energy efficiency, where the higher price incentive consumer and businesses to adopt energy saving behavior and technology. So this is in line with the National Energy Transition Roadmap and net zero target. So when the tariff goes up, then they will have a behavior that they want to save the energy. All right, and then another thing is about the targeted subsidy. So when they have a targeted subsidy, then they have a better equity. So this reform protect, as you said just now, 85% of low to mid income users while requiring higher usage groups to pay a fair share. So yeah, so it benefit the wealthy who consume more.
So, as
Right.
you mentioned about, do you
Challenges, the considerations that you need to think about, public mistrust. For example, like if communication is poor, the public may fear further hikes. Okay, they afraid, or maybe unfair targeting of M40 groups. So this transparency is defining high usage. It is very important to avoid social discontent. Another one is cost push inflation risk. So cost push inflation risk is in economics. So in this situation, for example, like SMEs and manufacturers, they may pass on higher electricity cost to consumer. Okay, so prices of the essential goods and services maybe can rise in the short term. So if not carefully managed, some borderline household may fall through the cracks. So a strong social protection mechanism must exist for the vulnerable groups. So from a macroeconomic and sustainability perspective, this reform is a rational and progressive step. So if implemented with the clear communication, adequate safeguards and support mechanisms, so it moves Malaysia closer to energy efficiency, equitable resource use and fiscal sustainability. Yeah.
From a macroeconomic perspective, does rising electricity tariff for high usage consumers help achieve a fairer allocation of energy resources?
Yes, because it promotes equity in resource allocation. So in Malaysia, TNB tariff is restructuring aims to reduce subsidies for high volume users, usually industry and high income household. And this is redirect saving towards public goods or lower income support. So it follows the progressive pricing model where those who consume more, they can afford it, they can pay more, which help improve efficiency and reduce the overconsumption.
So as you mentioned about the SMES, so do you think it will transfer pressure to customers when facing increasing costs?
In many cases, yes, SMEs operating on tight margin. So they are likely to pass part of the increased energy cost to customer through higher price of goods and services. For example, like what? For example, like SMEs in the food and beverages
Yes.
and manufacturing sectors, they may adjust their pricing to maintain profitability. Okay, so this contributing to the cost push inflation in the short term.
So it can regard as a hiding electricity tax on customers.
How to say? It may feel like hidden tax, but it is actually a price rationalization policy. So Malaysia previous blanket subsidy distorted market signals. So by adjusting tariff based on usage, the policy internalized externalities and aim for the fiscal sustainability. So this also support subsidy reform effort that align with the targeted assistance like Bantuan Sara Hidup BSH or Sumbangan Tunai Rahmah STR, if you know about that. Yeah.
The government has stated that the increase in electricity tariff will mainly target super wealthy groups. How to define super wealthy?
Okay. Okay, in this context, the super wealthy, right? It refers to household or businesses with high electricity consumption. For example, like bungalows with pools, luxury offices or factories. So TNB data shows that only the top 10% of residential users consume over or how much? I forgot. I think maybe around 600 kilowatt monthly. So the pricing affect those in T20 and upper M40 income brackets more than B40 or average user.
Which approach is fairer and more efficient? Higher electricity charges for heavy users or higher income tax for high earners?
Again, what is that?
Which approach is fairer and more efficient? Here is two choices: higher electricity charges for heavy users or higher income tax for high earners.
Electricity charges for who?
For heavy
One
users or higher income tax for higher earners.
or higher income tax for higher users?
Yes. For higher earners.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
people
you mean
who,
like these two, which one is better?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. So, okay. So option one, higher electricity charge for higher usage.
Yes.
Okay. Number two is higher income tax for higher electricity user. Okay. So the first approach that you tell me, the what higher electricity charge for higher usage,
Yes.
like Malaysia current approach. That is what Malaysia is doing now.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one, right? Like, I think both have their pros and cons, which is the first one, right? They fare based on the usage. Like, people who consume more, they pay more. So this reflect the polluter pays principle and supports energy and the support energy efficiency. And then it is transparent and easy to implement, the first one. Because utility companies, they can bill directly according to consumption tiers. And also, it's also can encourage behavioral change because people may adopt energy saving appliance or reduce wastage. For example, maybe they go for solar system or something. And also, the option one that you give, it avoid burdening low income and low usage users. Okay, but it doesn't consider ability to pay in detail, like large family or home-based business. They might use more electricity, but they are not wealthy family. Like SMEs may also affected. Why? Because it's leading to the cost push inflations.
Yes.
So this is why the question you asked about hidden tax, right? So public may think this is hidden tax, but actually it is not. Okay, so the alternative two, which is higher income tax for higher user, it is hypothetical alternative we can see where it's fair based on income. So they tax those who can afford it, even if their electricity use is moderate.
Yes.
So you get me? Okay. And then more progressive because it tied directly to the income level, not consumption. If you talk about higher income tax, because they see your income, not your consumption. Okay, and it is hard to monitor because it's linking the income tax record to electricity bills, and this will add a bureaucracy. And also, it also can reduce the tax compliance behavior. So if you ask me which one is fairer, economically and practically, the tiered electricity charge is fairer in usage-based terms. You pay for what you use.
Yes.
Yeah, if you charge the tax based on income, I don't feel it is fair as well as a consumer, as a human, because I feel like maybe I use less, but I need to pay more. And then it is more efficient because it's create proper price signals and it is simple to enforce and more transparency. So, however, to ensure overall fairness, especially if household with high electricity needs are not necessarily wealthy, it should be combined with targeted subsidy and mean-tested support. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is about if the policy leads to increased electricity costs for the manufacturing sector, will this raise the prices of export goods and weaken Malaysia's international competitiveness?
Again, please. If this increase,
If the policy leads to increased electricity costs of the manufacturing sector, will this,
manufacturing sector.
yes, sector,
Okay.
will this raise the prices of export goods?
You mean what? It's affect the price of export good?
Yes, and we can
Will it affect?
maybe about food, machine, medical, and many other things that
Okay.
may
So your question is, if increase electricity on manufacturing sector, will it affect the price of export?
will raise the price and weaken the Malaysia's international competitiveness.
Is that weaken what? Weaken Malaysia competitiveness?
International competitiveness.
Okay. So, that you ask the first questions, how it affect the export price, and is that will weaken the competitiveness? Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
If you ask me, okay, okay, the the answer is yes. Because an increase in electricity tariff for manufacturing sector in Malaysia, it can both affect export price and the Malaysia what? Just now you said competitiveness. Okay.
Yes.
Why? Because of one cost push effect on export. So when electricity price increase, production cost increase, especially sector like, as you said, the palm oil, electronics, steel, automotive. So if firm cannot absorb these higher costs through productivity gains or cost cutting elsewhere, so they may pass this cost to buyers by raising export prices. So this will lead to reduced price competitiveness in international market. Okay, for example, a glove manufacturer in Selangor with high energy usage may raise their export price to the other country, to the US or Europe. Why? Due to the increased overhead cost. So the buyer may then switch to cheaper supplier in Thailand or Vietnam. And also, it can be potential decline in export demand. So in global market, price electricity of demand for many manufactured export is high, meaning small price increase can lead to significant drops in demand. So this could lead to lower export volume and negative trade balance impact, especially if Malaysia main competitors like Vietnam and Indonesia maintain lower production costs. So, and also, are conditions under which the impact may be limited, like green manufacturing incentive, exchange rate depreciations, high value differentiated product like medical devices, semiconductors. So the electrical and electronic sector, which account for over, I think 35 of export, is energy intensive. So a tariff hike may raise export costs unless offset by automation for a better energy efficiency. So the MITI, you know MITI, the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, has in the past raised concern about how energy costs impact competitiveness in the 12th Malaysia Plan. Right? Okay, so if you ask me that, yes, higher electricity tariff in manufacturing sector can lead to higher export price and also reduce Malaysia competitiveness and if affect the trade balance. However, the degree of impact depends on the industry energy intensity. It depends on the availability of subsidy or incentive. It's depend on flexibility of foreign buyer. And also it depends on the firm ability to innovate or cut costs elsewhere. Yeah.
So, according to the government, we know about this reform is aimed at supporting education and the healthcare. So, will this help to reduce the talent outflow?
This what? This help
Help to
reduce
reduce
the talent
outflow.
outflow.
Yeah.
Can you spell outflow? AUTFLOOR.
OUTFLOW.
Oh, outflow. Okay. So, again, can you read the front one, the back one? Okay, I understood. The front one, what is that?
Yes, according to the government, we know this reform is aimed at supporting education and healthcare.
This reform, what? This reform?
Is aimed at supporting and
So that means, according to the government, this
Yes.
reform support is support.
yes, supported to supporting the education and healthcare.
Okay, education and healthcare.
Yeah.
Okay. So this can help reduce the talent outflow, you ask.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. The electricity tariff reform in Malaysia is part of a broader fiscal rationalization effort that aim at redirecting public fund from subsidies towards the critical sector like education and healthcare. So first, like by cutting back on untargeted energy subsidy, which is mainly benefit high usage users, the government can also reallocate fund to improve public education's infrastructure, teacher training, like tertiary education access, time program, strengthening the public healthcare system, including specialist training, equipment upgrades, and rural clinic access. Right? If they can, so if you ask me, it's linked to the talent outflow, which is brain drain, I would say. You know, that means talent outflow, it's like a brain drain, right? So it's often happen when local professionals, they feel undervalued or lack access to quality educations and career opportunities. If you see a lot of Malaysian who is highly educated, they are working in other countries. Okay, so by improving these services domestically, graduates, doctors, researchers, and skilled workers may find more reason to stay and grow their careers in Malaysia. So investment in education and healthcare can also create a new high value jobs and reduce the need to seek better living standard outside Malaysia. So if you these questions, yes, the electricity reform support Malaysia long-term development by redirecting saving from subsidies towards education and healthcare. Because these improvements will help address the root cause of brain drain, such as poor public services, limited high skill opportunities. So also reducing talent outflow and strengthening the national capacity.
Sorry, doctor. Because our free time in Zoom meeting is to the end, and we maybe need to open a new meeting with
Okay,
another
okay.
link.
All right. So
Uh,
later you send me the link back.
yeah,
Yes.
we will send you the new link by the email.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Okay.
你这里看一个。And we will leaving the room. 哦，也不用我讲。结束会议。OK，已经开始了。声音调一下。你发了吗？发了。我好像还能暂停录制。可以了。但是好慢，因为好长。没事，我到时候这个就直接放那个油管里，或者转弯转。你这个咋这么清楚哦？高清屏。你特地买的吗？特地买的什么？高清屏。不是，肯定不是买的高清摄像头，肯定不是啊！我这摄像头一次都没用。肯定不是，我跟你说，我这个打那个微信也贼高清，它给你自动美颜。哦，对哦。你看它这种，它这里可以，它还可以人像模式，因为我这个是那个。Hello, doctor. Can you hear?
Hi. Wait.
Okay. Can you hear our voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Just now my face is clear or not?
We can't see your face. No.
Just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my camera is not working well because this is my another laptop.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay, what is the questions next?
The next one, as the
Mhm.
2025 electricity tariff adjustment approaches the general election cycle in Malaysia, is it possible that the political pressure will lead to policy reversal?
So you said to 2025 electricity, is that
Yeah.
tariff?
Yeah.
Is that affect the politic?
No. Will the policy affect the policy and will lead to the policy reversal?
Will the politic again I didn't get you. Will the politic
Reversal. Reversal. Reversal.
I again
Reversal. Reversal.
RECER
V
REVER
SAL.
S. Oh, you mean will the 2025 electricity tariff, will the politic reverse? I didn't get. Can you type? Can you type? It's easier.
Okay.
Because I couldn't What is reverse or reversal? I don't know. So both of you stay inside Xiamen?
Yes.
Ah. So this is for your assignment.
Yes.
How you reach out to me?
Because my roommate is a student of yours and she recommended your email to me.
What is her name?
刘子宇
She learn principle of economics with me?
Probably in GE session.
This semester or last semester?
Last semester.
Ah, principle of management.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
We
Okay.
send the information through the chat.
Okay. Now I get it. Okay. You ask, okay, what is your opinion on the impact of electricity bill structure reform on inflation? Oh, on inflation in Malaysia. Okay. It's very different from what I heard. Just now I thought I heard like politic. Okay. So it could contribute to a mild increase in inflation. Okay. Especially in energy related sector. So according to Bank Negara Malaysia, any adjustment in the price like electricity or fuel, it will add to the headline inflation. But the impact can be cushioned by the subsidy rationalizations and targeted social support. Yeah, do you get or you want more explanations?
Can you give us more explanations?
Okay. Okay, if you ask that, right, in my opinion, the electricity bill structure reform will have a moderate short-term effect on inflation, especially through the cost push effect. So as electricity tariff increase for high usage user, especially in the manufacturing and service sectors, some businesses, they may pass on their high cost to consumer in the form of price increases on goods and services, right? So this can contribute to inflationary pressure, especially in the sector that are energy intensive. But the government has designed the reform to protect 85%, as you said, right, of residential user through the targeted subsidy. So which this will help the cushion the impact on the general public and low income group. So the inflation effect is likely to be limited and manageable. So in long term, if this reform leads to greater energy efficiency and fiscal saving that are redirected towards productive sector like healthcare, education, infrastructure, so it could actually support stable inflation and sustainable growth actually. In short term, yes, little bit. Okay, but in long term, it will be stable inflation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Next question. We will also send you through the chat.
You can ask as well. You can type and you can ask as well. If I understand, I will rightly answer you.
As the 2025 electricity tariff adjustment approaches the general election cycle in Malaysia, is it possible that political pressure will lead to policy reversal?
Oh, this is what you asked before.
Yeah.
Not, yeah, that is why I'm thinking something you ask and then you write previously It's different question. I say, am I hear different or what? Yes, I think when major reform like electricity tariff adjustment, it's happened close to an election cycle, there is always a risk of political pushback or reversal. In Malaysia, energy pricing is political sensitive issue because it directly affects the cost of living and public perception can quickly change, especially if the opposition frame it as a burden on people. Okay, so governments may face populist pressure to maintain subsidy or delay reforms to avoid losing voter support. Because we have seen this before in Malaysia where the planned fuel subsidy removals or GST implementations were postponed or reversed due to the political sensitivity. But however, the current administration has emphasized that the tariff hike mainly affect the high usage or high income group, while 85% of domestic users are shielded by targeted subsidy. So if this communicated clearly with the visible reinvestment in education, healthcare, infrastructure, so the government may able to maintain the reform without major political fallout. But realistically, if inflation rises sharply or public sentiment turns negative, the likelihood of adjustment or delay or compensation mechanism increase, especially in the pre-election context. Okay.
Next question. What's your opinion on the impact of next
What
question.
is your opinion?
Will the increase in electricity charges have an impact on the country's budget gap?
On the country budget?
Yeah, budget gap.
Does the high electricity charge affect the budget gap, you mean?
Yeah.
Budget gap or budget deficit?
Budget gap.
Budget gap, okay. Yes, of course, because high electricity charge can help reduce government budget gap. Okay. How?
It is.
Especially for high usage user. So this can narrow the government budget gap by reducing this it needs to fund the blanket subsidy. So in the past, Malaysia spent billions annually to keep electricity prices artificially low for all users, including a wealthy household, a large industry. Okay, so this contributed to a growing fiscal burden and limited government ability to invest in other priority sector. So with this 2025 tariff reform, right, the government is shifting towards a targeted subsidy system, which is the focuses on assistance on B40 group, M40 group. So by allowing this tariff to reflect actual market cost for heavy user or public spending on energy subsidy can be significantly reduced. So this saving can be redirected to areas like education, healthcare, as you said earlier, or improving overall fiscal sustainability. So in a nutshell, higher electricity charge for those who can afford them are a fiscally responsible move that helps Malaysia close its budget deficit while protecting the vulnerable groups.
So it is understood that this policy would increase the stock value of TNB Electric Power Company. And in your opinion,
This will increase the value of the stock market,
yes,
stock market of TNB.
Yes, TNB company. And in your opinion, how does that increase happen?
Yes, the electricity tariff reform is likely to increase the stock market of TNB.
Yes.
Because especially from the investor's perspective. So when tariffs are restructured, right, to reflect the actual cost of electricity generation and supply, so it will improve the TNB revenue, certainty and financial health. So this is particularly important for institutional investor looking for stable or maybe dividend paying stocks. So under Malaysia incentive-based regulations framework, right, the TNB allow to recover its cost plus a reasonable return on capital. So when subsidy distort pricing, TNB margins may be small, squeezed. But with this reform, where high usage user pay closer to the market rates, TNB earnings become more sustainable. Okay, so the reform signal that the government is committed to regulatory transparency and market discipline, which can boost investor confidence. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, after similar tariff adjustment previous years, I think the last time 2015, TNB share often the short-term gains, especially when the market view the changes as reducing the subsidy and improve the cash flow. You know, so of course, I think this reform will likely to support TNB stock performance, and it will enhance their revenue stability.
Okay, next question. Will the electricity fee adjustment promote energy efficiency and the green transition?
Yes. Higher tariff for overconsumption incentive user to adopt the energy saving habit and technology like solar panel, energy efficient appliance, and building retrofits. So it support Malaysia National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR, and the country's goal to reach net zero emission by 2050. So this electricity fee adjustment, yes, can promote the energy efficiency and accelerate the Malaysia's green transitions. Okay, so in countries like Germany, right, or Japan, higher electricity tariff will lead to widespread adoptions of energy saving innovations and renewable installations. So Malaysia now is following a similar path by encouraging responsible consumptions and cleaner energy alternatives. So if you ask me, yes, this adjustment create a price-based incentive to reduce energy consumption, which this will promote efficiency and sustainability. So if it is supported by public education and green financing, so this will strengthen the Malaysia's path towards a low carbon future.
Next question. Do you think it is possible for Malaysia to introduce a carbon tax or energy tax system in the future?
What you ask will this what again?
Do you think is it possible for Malaysia to introduce a carbon tax or energy tax in the future?
You ask it is impossible or possible?
Is it possible
Malaysia to what?
to introduce a carbon tax or energy tax?
Okay, it's impossible or possible?
Yeah, is it possible or impossible?
Possible.
Okay, is it possible, right? for Malaysia to introduce carbon tax in future, you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is very possible. Even likely that Malaysia will introduce a carbon tax in the future, I think, especially as the country is advances their climate goals and energy transition agenda right now. Because Malaysia, why I say this? Because Malaysia want to move towards its net zero emission target by 2050. So the government needs market-based tool to reduce greenhouse gas emission and encourage sustainable practices. So a carbon tax would place a direct price on the carbon emissions. So this will making it more expensive to pollute, okay, to do a pollutions. Why? Because this will encourage industry to adopt cleaner technology. It will generate revenue that could be reinvested in renewable energy or energy efficiency program or public transport. So, and also this align with Malaysia with global standard, especially with trading partners like European Union, which is introducing the carbon border adjustment mechanism that could penalize countries without carbon pricing. So the Ministry of Finance and Bank Negara Malaysia both acknowledge the potential role of a carbon tax. In fact, Malaysia is already exploring voluntarily carbon markets and carbon pricing mechanism as a part of its national energy transition roadmap and the 12th Malaysia Plan. Yeah. So I think while it is political sensitive, but it is a likely next step as the country shift towards the green growth, fiscal reforms, and international competitiveness.
Yes.
How do you wish the government to improve their communication or implementation of future livelihood policies?
Government implementation on future what? Electricity policy?
Livelihood policies.
Livelihood policy.
Yes.
How
Do you
you
wish to
how
improve?
do you wish the government what?
To improve their communication or
Okay, to improve the
implement-
communication. To
okay,
improve their communications or their
implementation,
communication or collaboration?
communication.
Communication on future policy.
Yes.
What future policy?
Maybe about any policies about related to people's life or economic.
Okay.
Yes.
In Malaysia, is that in Malaysia, right?
Yes.
How I wish government improve communications.
Or implementation.
Implementations. Improve. Wait, government improve communication on future policy. Implementation, right? Implementations. Yeah. Okay. I think I believe that the government can improve communication on future policy implementation, especially those affecting livelihood by being more transparent, more inclusive, and people focused. So many Malaysians are willing to support reform if they understand the rationale and trust the process. So to do this, government should explain clearly and early. Okay, use a simple, relatable language to explain what the policy is, why it is necessary, who will be affected, and how the government will cushion the impact. And then they need to show the real life impact and benefit, communicate how the policy improve public service like healthcare, education, transportation, especially for B40 and M40 communities. And also they need to be engaged with the public. They need to conduct a town halls, survey, or maybe gather a feedback to address concern before the final implementations. They need to use outreach, very good outreach, which is reach different groups through social media or through the radio and community engagement program, especially in rural area and in multiple language. And the government also need to be consistent and honest. Why? Because they need to avoid last-minute U-turns or contradictory statements. Why? Because policy credibility depends on clear and steady messaging and follow through. So in short, I will say that I hope future policy communication will be timely, transparent, and empathetic, with empathy. Helping Malaysian to understand not just what is changing, but how it will lead to a better livelihood in the long run. Yeah.
Okay. So the last question, from your perspective, how should university students and young generations view reforms related to public resources?
Mm. Again, from my perspective,
Yes. How should
how should university
university students and young
and my generation, young generation,
generation view
okay,
performance, view reforms
okay.
related to public?
From my perspective, university student and the young generation should view reform related to public resources as a necessary investment in their future, not just a short-term investment. So this reform, which is a targeted subsidy, right? For example, an energy efficiency policy or tax restructuring. So they are often designed to make public system more sustainable, fair, and efficient. So rather than seeing them as a burden, young people should approach reform with a critical but constructive mind. You need to ask, how does this affect inequality? How does this affect the environment? How does this affect the future job market? You need to understand that public resources like electricity, healthcare, education are limited and must be used wisely to benefit all the Malaysian, not just a specific group. Okay, so I would say that the young generation should be a thinker, not a follower.
Yes.
Okay, young Malaysian also have a role to participate actively through a dialogue, through social advocacy and innovation. So the more informed and engaged they are, the more likely reforms will reflect their values like climate action, transparency, social justice. So in a nutshell, the youth should see public resource reform as a part of building a stronger Malaysia, not just a government decision to be passively accepted or rejected. So their voice is matters. Okay, so thus their understanding also matters. Okay, I think that's it.
Okay, that's
Thank
the
you
end
for-
of the interview. Thank you for your joining our interview.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
my pleasure, and yeah, have a great weekend.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, doctor. Ôi dồi, một bình đây là chuyện gì vậy? What's up? Ừ, 我给你关了，你继续关。
我不知道怎么 record 怎么下载啊？
record 你关了以后，它自己会出来。
我就 end 是吧？然后我说 end for。
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello?
Can
Hello?
you hear us?
Yes, I can. I can. Can you hear me?
Can. Thank you for giving us
Okay.
valuable opportunity to interview you.
Ah, yes, I think like I mentioned, of course can at the moment. Of course, even though I'm actually on holiday actually, but of course you can view me by now, okay? As I don't have anything much, yeah. But thanks for inviting me anyway. Yeah. By the way, which one of you is Huang Junru? Sorry because I
Yes.
know it's been. Oh, you're Junru.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hello. Nice to see you, Junru.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, how are you doing? I know
Uh,
it's been a while. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry if I cannot remember you guys. I know it's been 5 weeks, but now seeing you again, so yeah, it's good to see you again. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's given that a given though I know it's a short period of time, but of course, like I said, thanks for having me here. Of course, I believe that you must have a lot of things, to do, um, to us, and of course, feel free. I try my best, even though I know that you have given me the what you call this, sample questions here. All right. I'll try my best. I hope
okay.
that whatever I answer will satisfy you guys. Okay. But feel free. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Yes. So okay. All right. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Maybe
so,
later on. Yeah. Later on after the after the session question, maybe you can ask me anything or something. Yeah. Then maybe we can afterwards lah. Huh?
so for your
Yes.
consent, our conversations will be recorded for further transcript and also serve as an evidence for our teachers. Is
Okay.
it
Yeah.
okay?
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Okay, thank
Sure.
you.
No problem. So which one is Eng Yi?
Me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Were you in my class before? I can't.
No, this is the first
Oh,
time with sir.
I see. I see. So both of
Let's
you are
begin.
journalists, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. Okay. Good to see you. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. So I think since you guys are journalism, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of things to ask at the moment. No? Okay, I'll try to make it as a friendly, what you call as a friendly conversation. Okay, try to relax. Okay, just make it as a practice. Okay, yeah, I know that you are still studying. But try your best. Of course, I will try my best as well. Given that the topic that you send me. Okay, so maybe we can start.
Okay, we can start now.
Okay.
So first question, so have you heard that the Malaysian government will adjust the electricity subsidy policy in July 2024?
Yes, I heard it a lot. It's been if you ask me personally, it's a bit quite fascinating, and of course the subsidy of the electricity is also it's quite transparent. I must say, given that it has a lot of benefits and it has a lot of I would say good outcome. Okay, what are the good outcomes? Of course, later on I will explain a bit opinions because I think this is something related to your questions later on. Okay, but overall, I would say, in my opinion, that the government subsidies for electricity policy was very clear and very transparent. Okay, yeah,
Thank you, sir.
no
And
problem.
question, in your opinion, is the government's explanation of this policy clear and transparent?
Oh, okay. I think I'm already answered that question. Okay, but I will say it again. Um, Yes, I believe it is transparent. Given that I remember during the time the Prime Minister has mentioned that it will give a lot of benefits to citizens. Okay, you have to remember that you know, in Malaysia, you know, how many people can afford to pay electricity bills, for example, okay? And given that we have a different classes. What I mean by classes is that you have the average, let's say we have average poor, middle, average, and rich. So of course, each one of them are not the same, isn't it? So you can see that given that the subsidies that have been introduced by governments, I think it will be a bit, like I said before, it's beneficial, and it will give a lot of good outcomes, especially to the poor people, especially for those who have low income. All right, yeah,
So,
okay,
we just want
yep,
to verify again. What Sir
okay,
trying to mention is like we have already separate different classes, and every single classes will get the fairness that they should have, right?
yes, yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
okay.
And overall, do you support this electricity bill reform policy?
Um, I personally support the policy, um, because uh, cer- due to one of the main reason is that um, this policy helps people who have low income. All right. Okay. I repeat that again. This policy helps people who have low income. All right. Given that this policy helps to decrease the burdens of poor people, which I think it will give a lot of benefits to them. Okay? Yes. Yeah. That is my answer.
Okay. Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
sir. So the government has stated that this electricity price reform will affect super wealthy families. How to define super wealthy?
Sorry, super wealthy, you say?
Yes. Oh, the
Okay.
government has already stated that the electricity price will reform and will affect the super rich groups and also
Mhm.
the industry area. So, sir,
Mm.
in your opinion, how to decide the meaning of super rich?
Super rich.
Yeah.
If you ask me specifically, okay, maybe later on you can refer to me, what you mean by which reference. Okay, but I would say that super rich, okay, those who have higher income, mean to say that, um, you know, because they are rich. And for if you ask me, in my humble opinion, um, of course they don't need these subsidies anyway. All right. But of course, it benefits to all sides, especially those who are poorer. And of course, you mentioned about super wealth, because they have a lot of financial in their hands. Okay, so I think it will also give them more, what you call, less burden, and they don't have to spend more on paying the electricity bills. As simple as that, because of course you have subsidies. All right, so of course, I believe that could be a what call a financial help in need, isn't it? Okay, I believe, if you say that, I've also mentioned this, Junwoo, in if you remember in my class that I mentioned about people who are, are low income, higher income. Those who have high income, they have a lot of financial options in their hand. So of course, it helps them. They will get more beneficial for this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Am I answering your question?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Next
sir,
question. Yeah.
For the next question, how do the triple big bag of electricity price reform on finance, environment, and also social equity interactions?
Social equity interruptions, you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Right. Okay. Okay. I can speak from the public finance point of view. Of course, maybe I can relate that to environment and social equity. Um, of course, like I mentioned, public finance is a lot of things that relates to public finance. For example, like personal finance, like those who have finance options like bonds, like mutual funds. Um, of course, and since I mentioned about different categories like poor people, low income, middle income, higher income, all right. So of course, definitely the lower income will be slightly impact. How does it impact? Well, they don't have to spend that much. Okay, maybe just a lesser because given that they don't have much financial options compared to those who have higher income or super wealthy, like you mentioned just now. Because when we say super wealthy, because they have a lot of financial options. Uh, um, if I think Junui can recall this, if you remember, I mentioned about mutual funds, bonds, investing stocks. So those are probably the financial options that can help the super wealthy to spend accordingly, okay, and to plan financially compared to those who are lower income. All right. Of course, low income, they have to manage properly, okay? All right, of how they can use. But of course, subsidies will help them to get through these financial difficulties. Because generally, when we're speaking about subsidies, of course, it will also help the financial difficulties of the lower income as well. Okay? Right. Am I answering your question?
yes. So
Okay, thank you very much.
is it like
Okay.
is very focused on like striking the balance between the social positions of the lower income and also higher income because higher income now, as Sir mentioning just,
Hmm.
they have already have very like have um very options to let them choose, but lower income is
Yes.
more like limited.
Yes, exactly. And it goes back related to the environment. When we talk about environment, of course, um, you know, s- I remember seeing one of the opinion. Maybe later on I will explain more about the opinion. Because lately we have a lot of sustainability options. Now, what do I mean by sustainable options? Well, think about this. People sometimes, instead of um, relying on electricity, now these days people are relying on sustainability. What kind of example? Solar system. Solar means that they don't have to rely on electricity. That is more sustainable options. Okay, but of course, not all people can afford that, isn't it? To have a solar, maybe in their houses. All right, but if you see that in some people like super wealth, yes, they can afford this kind of sustainable solar system in their houses in order which they don't have to rely much on electricity. But for low income, yes, they they still do. Okay, so this is one thing I think is related to environment and of course social equity. I think I mentioned a little bit about the social higher status, low status, low income, higher income. All right, so I think that is something related lah to your question. Okay, so hopefully I'm providing the answer that you need. Okay, yes.
Okay.
Okay, that is my answer. You're right.
Here's the
Okay, anything? Oh.
okay. So, do you think the government should maintain the electricity subsidy for a long time?
Um, if you ask me generally, yes, I believe so, even though it will be hard because why do I mean by hard? Because it depends on the political situation. Okay. You see that sometimes when when there is an unstable political situation, yes, governments will be affected and the government policy will be affected. Now, how is it possible? Well, if the government is, let's say, if this current government changed by another government. What do I mean by another government? Maybe another political party. So, of course, all the policies will change effectively, and perhaps the subsidy could be changed as well. So, yes, I believe that. Back to your question, yes, I believe that. Yeah, it should. Hopefully, it can maintain in the long period of time. Yeah, it should. Okay. Am I answering your question?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
So we
Okay.
understand on that.
Okay. No problem. Yes.
So
Anything else?
even if the direct electricity charge remain unchanged, if enterprise pass on the cost of the prices of the goods, such as the food and daily necessities, do low-income individuals bear the invisible electricity tax in a discussed was through consumptions.
Yeah, so to shorten the questions, what we want to ask is that when the electricity price increase, then will customer demands on their food, on their daily usage of the groceries, and when they have affected these situations, will causing the untransparent electricity tax transformations to the lower income group, income group.
The lower income, or you mean, is it affecting those people who, is it affecting the lower income of paying their tax, isn't it? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yes, and then will it causing a very invisible tax transformations?
Oh, okay. All right. Now, I must say that it will not, personally, I don't think it will affect it at all, because of course tax is tax. Okay, they have to pay tax. Everyone needs to pay tax. Okay, it's not included, but it depends. Okay. Now what I mean, that depends. It depends on how much income that they receive. Of course, it goes back to what I mentioned about lower income, middle income. All right. So you can see that, given that the topic is about subsidies, so I don't think it will affect the taxpayers at all. Okay, unless if the citizens who have been super wealthy, all of a sudden they become lower income. That's a different story. Okay, but I don't. But for my opinion, it will not affect those people who, the subsidies will not affect the taxpayer at all. Okay, I hope that answers your question, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's
Yeah.
like they still maintain the prices that they should have, right?
Yes, they maintain the prices. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right. Okay. And anything else?
So if
That's it.
the policy is implemented,
Implemented.
and the electricity
Implemented.
price for the manufacturing industry rise, the cost will increase. Will this lead to the price increase of the export goods at the net, thereby weaken Malaysia's international competitiveness?
Sorry, come again. I might miss out what you asked just now.
So
Can you repeat that again? Yeah,
sorry, sir. Sorry.
Okay.
If the policy is implemented and the electricity
Okay.
for the manufacturing industry rises.
Okay.
So will it lead to the price increase of export goods and thereby weaken Malaysia's international competitiveness?
Oh, you mean that is it going to impact on the import and export
Yeah.
of the country?
Yeah.
Not at all. Not necessarily. I don't think it will affect the export because that is a different category. Okay, because of course it might lead to some price, but I don't think it will affect the import and export at all. Okay, because you have to remember subsidies is all about giving the less burden to people who doesn't have much financial options. Okay, all right, to those super wealthy, yes, it's not affecting to them at all right, okay, yeah, and of course, like I said, it gives beneficial to all sides, okay. If I'm not mistaken, I remember seeing this one opinion from Citizen, and he said strictly that you know, because of the government subsidies, all right, a lot of people has been benefit from it, and of course it saves the government spending. That's what it says, okay. But coming back to your question, of course it will not affect the import and export at all, okay. That is my humble opinion.
So in summarization, what so trying to tell is that
Okay.
if however the electricity price increase, but it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't affect at the export good
No,
prices.
not at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a separate
Okay.
topic.
It's a separate topic. Yes.
Thank you,
Unless
sir.
if it's related to goods, then that's yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. We got the point. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anything else? No, not at all.
Which approach is a fair and more efficient and imposing additional electricity charge on high power consuming groups or directly raising the income tax rate for high income earners?
Oh, that is a question, is it? Okay, you're trying to, okay, sorry. Okay, so you're saying that let me get this straight. You say rising subsidies lead to rising price, is it? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah.
Yes,
So okay.
yes, which approach is more efficient for like for benefit for the high power consuming group or directly raise the tax rate of their income for the high income earners.
Oh, okay. If you ask me that, you saying benefits, okay? If I hear it correctly, okay, you can. But yes, you can tell me if I'm saying it wrong. Yes, I would say in terms of beneficial, I think it will benefit to both parties. Okay, right? Because okay, like the ones that I mentioned just now, high income people, of course, they have financial options. Of course, it is fair to everyone. Okay, yeah. I think you can see in a lot of sources that they say that because of the government subsidies, I think it's recently in the news, in articles, where they say there's a lot of due to beneficial subsidies, which is quite fair to everyone. Okay, I think especially to all of us. Okay, yeah, all right. But of course, generally spoken, that the low income will get benefits from this lah. Okay, all right, yeah. So that is something that I can tell you at this point in time. Okay, all right. Hope that answers your question. If I'm hearing correctly. Okay, yeah, correct. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, all right. That's my answer. Okay.
Thank you, sir. So for the next
Okay.
question, if electricity revenue takes up the vast majority of the educational and medical acquisitions that should have been remitted through general tax or profit of the state-owned enterprises, does this constitute hidden Vickers transfer and thus be detrimental to the sustainability of public service investment? Oh, it's quite longer, right?
Oh, yes, that's a quite long answer. Okay, so
Try to summarize up.
so okay.
Okay.
So if
Mm.
if I'm not mistaken, you're asking that if it is impact on the sustainable finance investment, if I'm hearing quite right. Is that what you're asking, isn't it?
So we refine up the questions. So
Okay,
if
okay, yeah.
the government already stated that
Mm-hmm.
this electricity bill increase, they will
Mm-hmm.
contribute to support the medical and also the educational appropriations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This their base to support should mainly rely on the profit of
Mm-hmm. Okay.
the state-owned enterprises. But now, since they increase the electricity prices, so
Mm-hmm.
it constitute to hidden fee because transfer. Like
Okay.
they
All right.
transfer to the electricity bill, yeah, if they transfer to the electricity bill increase rather than gaining the profit from the sub-owned enterprises.
Okay. Okay.
That's clear.
All right. Okay, if you mention about higher electricity, of course, now these days everything is now it's been increasing, isn't it? It's not just about electricity. Of course, you see like rice, also like foods, everything is increases. Yeah. Okay, and of course it will affect some areas like what you mentioned just now, like electricity bills. Of course, we can't run away from it. Not to mention our water bills also is bit getting up, but yes, it goes back to how people manage things. All right. Of course, I think for you, June, because you've been in my class, I think you heard that, people who've got a lot of financial options, not to mention, like they have mutual funds, bonds, investments, of course, like insurance as well. Okay. But of course, insurance is that if they happen to get some calamity or something, of course, they will have to use it. But of course, if we're talking about, increasing costs, like the one you mentioned, of course, they have to find some financial options of how they can overcome this. So that is the thing. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Am I answering your question? Okay. 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 Then anything else? Maybe.
And the
Oh,
last question
huh?
from
Last
from
one.
an
Okay.
economy perspective, which one
Okay.
better balance the fairness or the efficiencies to like balance the income levels the uh, yes
Fairness and efficiency, you say. Which one is better? I would
like
say both. Uh,
not tariff and one is the means test subsidy.
okay. All right. When you spoke about tariff, okay. Um, Now, first of all, what do we know about tariff? Of course, tariff has a lot of, a lot of effects, a lot of impact, isn't it? Especially when it comes to, back to what your friend mentioned just now, import and export. Yeah. Tariff is one of them. That could be a very challenging thing. Okay. Not to mention embargo, and of course, what you call that? Limited allow goods. That's one thing. Okay. So all of this plays important. But now, given that you mentioned about efficiency and fairness, all right. Of course, all countries we want to have this. Okay. Because why? Why efficiency? Okay. We have first of all, we need to know what is the definition of efficiency itself. Okay. You want to make it happen as soon as possible, just like that. Okay. All right. And then, of course, fairness. Everyone needs to have fair. All right, regardless to what they are. Okay, they are poorer, richer, middle. Okay, everyone wants to have a fair square. All right, but of course, in terms of financial options, it's up to the individual itself. All right. Okay, if you remember, I mentioned about individuals, people who have financial options. Of course, they tend to can spend more because they are able so compared to those who doesn't have financial options. As simple as that. Okay, so yes, it goes back to, I think it goes back to your fairness, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, all right. Okay, so I think hopefully I'm answering your question. Okay, yeah, but please feel free if I maybe I mistook or something. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. So that is my answer. All right. Okay,
Thank you, sir. So as the
you can.
electricity price adjustment in 2025 approached the
Uh-huh.
general election cycle in Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
so it's quite difficult to answer, but may I ask that is it possible that political pressure will lead to policy transformations?
Political pressure, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the thing. That is one of the thing that we are facing in this country right now, isn't it? Political pressure, and you see that a lot of things. Of course, it's not just in Malaysia. Of course, you can see in other countries as well. Okay, depends, because you have countries that are democratic, you have countries that are Republicans. Okay, and every country they have their own ways of dealing with their own what we call policies and reformations. Okay, all right. But in our countries, of course, we cannot run away from political pressure. It's always there. Okay, it's just that whether it's heavy or too obvious, all right, or what we call to say that too aggressive. Okay, into the stage where all these things. I think you maybe have read the news. Like corruptions are everywhere. So yeah, this is one of the things that relates to political pressure. So yeah, so of course, all this is play an important role in how they reform the policies. Okay, so this is the thing. All right, yeah. So political pressure is one of the main thing I must say. Okay, I think it's been there. I think some researchers have wrote this. If I'm not mistaken, you can Google it. Okay, all right. But yes, it's one of the main political factor. And how is it affected the economic and the financial ways here? Okay, all right. Okay.
Actually, what
Yeah.
Sir
Is that
Sean
yeah, is that yeah, yeah.
we
Go
recall
go
back,
on, go on.
okay, so we recall back is that the political pressure is also the one things that we have to concerns because it will affect either directly or indirectly to the
Yes, yes, yes,
thank you,
yes.
sir.
That is true. Okay. All right. I think that is for, or is there more? I think we already half. Yeah. Half
So
hour, isn't it? Okay. All right. Yeah, so thank you all. Thank you, Juru especially. And sorry, what's your name again? Is it still recording?
yeah, Ni.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ni. All right. So I thank you. Appreciate very much. May I ask one question? Apart from me, are you going to interview more people based on the same question, or is it's just me myself?
We are trying to find one others economical lecturer
Okay.
or finance.
Okay. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good. Because I've been thinking since you since I saw your topic is about electrical subsidy and relate to public finance. I'm just wondering that if you manage to find more people, because I could make a paper research for you guys. Yeah, if you were interested in. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir,
So just
sir.
just let me know, because since having said that, because it's interesting to see the opinions from other people. What do they have to say? Of course the methodology is there. Okay, because now you're using qualitative. Okay, it is interview session. Of course you want to get some information out of people, to see what they have to say. Okay, so I think it'll be a good paper research. Okay, but just let me know if that is the case. If you can manage to find 20 people, I think that will be okay. All right, I can make it out of paper and then see what the results are.
Yes, sir, appreciate
Yeah,
all your
no problem, no problem. Just let me know if any emails or anything. Yeah, so
thank
we
you, sir,
can
thank
talk
you,
about it.
sir.
Okay, thank
So,
you. All right, maybe.
sorry,
Yeah,
sir. Is that
no, no
we
problem.
I have another 5 questions, but
Oh,
yeah, sorry, sir, sorry for any inconvenience caused, but
okay.
our meeting is just free for 14 minutes. Can we
Oh, okay.
do another link and continue to proceed on our questions, or have sir have any difficulties on it?
Oh, you mean you want to continue now or
Yeah,
yeah?
yeah.
Oh,
Can
because now I'm only actually talking something else actually. Maybe later on it will be okay. Yeah, yeah.
sorry, sir.
Okay. No problem, no problem. But thank you for your time. Okay, especially you, Junru. Okay, it's good to see you again. And of course, sorry, what's your name again?
It's
Genie, is it?
okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for your time. I hope that both of you are doing well. Okay. Of course, I hope all the wish best. I think it's a good topic what you guys are doing. Yeah. Okay. I think it'll be good, of course, if you can find more people. A good doesn't has to be lecturer. Maybe some people out there, you can ask them what are your opinions. Okay. So that is something you can get some information. Government's electricity subsidies and public finance. Why not? Okay, it's related to what I taught back in your classes as well. Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right, okay. So thank you very much. Okay,
Thank you,
okay,
sir.
thank you for your time. Okay,
We hope to
okay,
see you
thank
next
you.
time.
Well, and I hope to see you again. Okay, anything, just let me know. Okay, all right.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you very much, guys. Okay,
Thank you.
see
Bye-bye.
you. See you. Bye bye. Okay. By the way, yeah. Okay.
Oh, very good. Oh, so we continue the last questions that we asked. So maybe
How
know
many questions? Yeah. How many questions left? How
we
many
have
questions?
5 questions.
Okay. I'll try
So
my best. Okay. Try to keep it short. Yeah. Okay.
so what is your opinion on the impact of this electricity bill structure reform on inflation in Malaysia?
My opinion in
Mhm.
uh for me, I would say it goes to back where I mentioned the other day that it is fair to every user. And because, like I mentioned, that because this policy helps a lot of people. Okay, maybe some people might not agree to it, but overall, I would say it gives a lot of benefits and advantage to use those who are related to this policy, especially the low incomers lah. Okay, when I say low income means they are, they don't have many financial options, but at least it can help them to reduce their financial burden lah. Okay, right.
So,
Okay.
so when we know, will the increase in electricity charge will have an impact on the country budget gap?
Yes, they will, because any kinds of increasing costs, it doesn't have to be electricity, but other things also, like goods. I think you mentioned the other day, tariff also, okay, water bills, also anything also, it will have an impact actually. And of course, we cannot run away from it. Yeah, it will definitely give an impact. But of course, as a user also, how we can overcome it. Of course, this is where I mentioned back in my personal financial planning class, where if you have a good financial planning, of course, you can at least counter the effects of any kinds of increasing costs. Of course, increasing cost is always there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Am I answering question? Okay. Okay.
Yes,
All right. Yeah.
it's understood that this policy could increase also the stock value of TNB Electric Power Company. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Stock,
so
you say.
in your opinion, how does
Mhm.
that increase will happen?
Sorry, how does this increase can happen?
Yeah. So we are quite curious about, so like we say that the electricity bill will increase, right? Then how
uh
can it link to the increase of the stock value of TNB stations?
stock value stations. Now, of course, if you mention stock, Now I remember, if I think you remembers this, because I mentioned a little bit about chapter of stock actually. Now every company has stocks. Okay, all right, yeah, especially the big ones, the Berhad ones. Of course, the way they can increase their stock is, by getting revenues. Of course, maybe increasing price is one thing, okay? But how do they achieve it? Well, even though it's increasing price, generally speaking, those who have higher income, of course, they can afford it and they can pay it accordingly, okay? And not to mention the strategy to increase their costs, okay, by getting a lot of revenue. Yes, usually can help them to increase their stock value, because once you get revenue profits, yes, that will increase the stock value, and not to mention getting good feedback as well from the customers, from users. Okay, because we all are electricity users, so yeah, so that's one way they can increase their stock value lah. Okay, and of course, if when you have increased stock value, of course, surely the company will have a good budget, good money in hand lah. Okay, yeah, generally speaking. Okay, yeah, all right. This is something I taught in the personal financial class lah. I think if you can remember this. Okay, all right. Okay,
I understand your point.
no problem. Yeah.
For the next questions, do you think it is possible for Malaysia to introduce a carbon tax or energy tax system in the future?
Okay, you think you're asking if is it possible to have carbon tax in the future?
Yeah.
Now it depends. Okay, firstly speaking, what is actually this carbon tax? How does it help giving benefits to people? Okay, all right. Now of course, when we say carbon tax, okay, it's all about paying excessive greenhouse gas emission, isn't it? When it's mean, yeah, okay. And of course, now we are getting into the system, what we call the sustainability environment. Now a lot of companies are doing sustainability where they try to reduce carbon dioxide. Okay, so of course, it helps a lot, I would say, especially if you look into business who are doing a lot of pollution environment. What I mean by pollution means they use a lot of smoke, so to say, like affecting their health, the environment, the people. So of course, it does help in some way, because you have to see that carbon tax itself is what? It's a type of penalty. If a business, of course, generally speaking, I think maybe, hopefully I'm not too astray from what your question is. Okay, generally speaking, is that carbon tax is a type of penalty that where a business must pay additionally, because due to what they are doing in their business, like doing too much pollution in terms of gas emissions and all these kind of things. Okay, so I think it helps them in some way lah. Okay, in order to reduce the pollutions and of course helping the environment stably. Okay, yeah. Am I answering your question?
Yeah. So things that is also a small punishment for them who pollute the air, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's the case. Okay.
Sure.
All right. No
So,
problem.
for the next one, from your perspective, how should university students and also young generations to form their view related to public resource?
Okay, you're asking the people's review to public resource. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Public resource. Now, when you mention public resource, what kind of public resource that we're talking? Any specifically public resource? Because when we say public resource, of course, it can be example like land, buildings, equipments. Yeah. Is it okay? Yeah. So that is generally my humble knowledge lah in this case. I don't know. Maybe you can help me with that. Is there any specifically of this public resource that you're mentioning, or is it related to the electricity thing that you mentioned just now?
Related to the electricity things.
Electricity to electricity. Okay. Now if you asking me public view, it goes back to what I saw the other day. Actually, this is something that you can research on the internet, because a lot of people has put their views about, electricity, whether it's fair or not. Okay, and of course, some put positive views, some put negative view, but generally speaking, a lot of people are putting positive because they saw it as a benefits, especially to people who doesn't have money. That's all it is. Of course, we can talk a lot of things like when you say public resources, of course, land, buildings, okay. But now since it becomes electricity, of course, it helps. It gives benefits to people in some ways, especially they don't have to spend that much. Imagine you have to spend, of course, just based on electricity, of course. So they have the half. Maybe they want to sustain. They want to feed their families and such. Yeah. Okay. So this is it, lah. All right. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
No
Okay,
problem.
thank you, sir. So for the last
Hey.
questions, how do you wish the government to improve their communication or implementation of future livelihood policies?
Okay. Good question. Because this one, I would say, increase just to, because governments, they have a lot of ways of, providing their agenda to people. Of course, they can use media. No, of course, media plays an important role. Okay. Yeah, of course, now people, they don't have to rely much on TVs, but of course, a lot of ways that can be done actually. Okay. A lot of social medias, news, newspapers. All right. Of course, maybe to, I would say, advertisement, there's a lot of campaign advertisement out there that says, stop all this. And then, well, perhaps rising until can give good benefits, so that can at least give some awareness. Imagine you're driving a car and then you saw the advertisement. Yeah, that could be one of it. All right, of course. Yeah. Okay. So that could also attract people as well. So that is my humble opinion. Okay. I'm not sure about the rest. Maybe you guys have interviewed other people's. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe it's something we can discuss later on. Lately. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
they can raise people awareness by spreading
Mm.
some advertisement or campaign on
Exactly.
social media,
Yes.
right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you, sir.
All right.
And that's all
Yeah.
for our interview B. And thank you, sir, for your
Mm.
and we
Okay. You're
really
welcome.
appreciate
Okay.
on your help.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Have you managed to interview other people? Maybe you want to stop the recording. Oh,
Not really,
not
actually.
really.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you want.
My name is Xiaohan. I'm doing a short interview for a class project. It will only take some time. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions? Okay, the first question. Have you heard about the Malaysian government's plan to revise the electricity tariff policy in July 2025?
Yes, I've heard a little about it. I heard that the electricity bills will go up after that.
How much do you know about the specific content of this policy?
In July, the government plans to increase the base electricity tariff by 14.2%, raising it to 45.62 cents. It is expected to include a differentiated pricing system based on usage. The government will continue to implement targeted electricity subsidies to ensure that low-income groups are not affected by the price hike. It is estimated that 85% of the household users will continue to receive subsidies.
In your opinion, how has the government responded to concerns about the electricity price hike?
In my view, the government has responded by continuously refining the policy, holding discussions, and collecting public opinion. They then communicated these changes to the public through news reports to ensure people are aware of the ongoing improvements.
Do you think targeting subsidies as those who truly need them is a reasonable public policy choice?
Yes, I believe it is a reasonable decision. Only those who truly need the subsidy can make the best of use it. This approach also
mobilize the various social forces and contributes to maintaining public order.
Do you think the government should maintain electricity subsidies in the long term? Why or why not?
Yes, I think the government should maintain the subsidies long term. It's a good way to protect people's livelihoods and ensure that those on basic welfare can afford electricity. This helps the smooth implementation of policies and promotes improvements in the energy structure, contributing to sustainable development.
Do you agree with charging more from those who use more and can afford it to ease the burden on public finances?
I do agree. Users who consume more electricity should naturally pay more. This is reasonable. In a country, there are always groups who struggle to afford basic expenses. Charging higher usage and wealthier groups more can also raise awarenesses about conserving electricity and help reduce the government's financial burden.
Do you think targeted subsidies are fairer than universal subsidies? Why?
I think targeted subsidies are relatively fairer. They allow differentiation based on people's living conditions, which ensures that those who truly need more people get it, thereby safeguarding their basic needs.
Do you think this policy reflects a form of income redistribution? What's your view on that?
Yes, I think to some extent it reflects income redistribution. Since the policy includes subsidies and differential rates, people will end up paying different amounts. That's a form of differentiated financial contribution.
Do you think the announcement and communication of this policy have been timely and clear enough?
I don't think the policy announcement and communication were very timely or clear. Not everyone is aware of this policy, and if you don't actively search for it, you probably wouldn't understand the details.
Do you think the government should do more in terms of communication and outreach, especially to young people?
Yes, I think the government should enhance education and awareness campaigns. Young people need to understand how future policies will affect their lives, especially since they are the future backbone of society. This can help build a more reasonable and inclusive policy framework.
Are you worried that this kind of a gradual subsidy removal policy might affect more living costs in the future?
Yes, I'm concerned. Subsidies significantly reduce the cost of living, and raising electricity prices will increase people's burdens. If subsidies are gradually removed, future electricity bills may continue to rise.
Do you think the current standards used to define affected groups are too simple or vague?
Yes, I think the criteria are not clearly explained. The groups mentioned are mainly industries and extremely wealthy households, which is a very basic classification. It doesn't reflect the complexity of electricity consumption patterns among different groups.
What have your friends or people on social media been saying about this policy?
They were quite surprised, especially with the continuous rise in base electricity tariffs. The ongoing price fluctuations have caused uncertainty and made people question the real intentions behind the policy.
What do you think about online comments saying the government is raising prices again? Do you agree?
I think the perception arises because the government did indeed announce a price increase. If people are thinking this, it shows there has been a constant trend of price hikes. Since electricity pricing is a major public issue, we should look into the reasons and the context behind the policy to see whether the increase ultimately benefits the public.
What improvements do you hope the government can make in communication or execution of future livelihood-related policies?
Before releasing any new policy, the government should conduct a larger-scale surveys to gather public opinion. They should also ensure that the public has accessible channels to express their views. For execution, traffic runs should be done before full implementation.
Overall, do you support this electricity tariff reform? Why or why not? How would you explain it to others?
Overall, I support this policy because it promotes the transformation of the country's energy system towards a greener and more low-carbon direction. It also fosters social awareness about energy conservation and sustainable development.
Aside from subsidies or price adjustments, what other sustainable solutions can address rising energy prices?
We can invest more in green, clean, and renewable energy sources, improving electricity efficiency and utilization, promoting technological innovations, and exploring more reasonable adjustments to the current energy structure are key strategies.
Do you think the government has sufficiently considered public opinion when formulating this policy? How could this be improved?
To some extent, yes. The government has adjusted the policy and publicly stated that most people's basic electricity needs will be protected through subsidies. The implementation of subsidies should be supervised by the public and be transparent, so that the support reaches those who truly need it.
How do you think this policy will affect your daily life?
If implemented, increase the industrial costs may lead to higher price for goods and services, which could raise our daily expenses. This may trigger widespread public reaction, but also encourage people to be more mindful of electricity use. On the positive side, it could drive the development of green energy and related industries, promoting a low-carbon lifestyle.
Okay, the last question. Do you think young people have a responsibility to understand the policies deeply rather than just reading headlines?
Yes, I believe it's our responsibility. We shouldn't judge a policy based only on headlines. We need to understand how the policy works, its background, and its rationale in order to form an informed opinion instead of being misled by superficial information.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Okay, you're welcome.